This is task 3A part 1. You're being asked to create an animated graphic. The first thing you know is that it's going to be used on a website. The website will need to include an animated graphic. So we need to make sure whatever we produce is going to be able to work on a website. Therefore, just producing a PowerPoint presentation won't eventually work on the website. We need to look at something like a movie file or a flash file or something that's in HTML5. Let's just have a look at the requirements so we understand what's being asked. It says that the animation should be in a ratio of 5 wide to 1 high. Well, that means it can be anything from like 5 centimeters by 1 centimeters, 20 centimeters by 4 centimeters, 500 pixels by 100 pixels, something along those lines. If you look later on in the question, you'll see that it's going to need to fit into an area that is 800 pixels wide by 100 pixels high. So, 500 pixels by 100 pixels makes sense, or think about it in centimeters. It should include 3 photographs of different views of the college. Well, they'll just be 3 photographs that you can find. They can be your own school or college, anything that you find on the web. And it doesn't matter what part of the college it is. It should show each image one at a time, moving automatically from one to the other. That means that each image should scroll one, then the next, then the next. There should be an effect that scrolls each image in from the top and moves each image out to the bottom. So the image is going to come, it's going to appear from the top of the screen, it's going to come down, and then when it's finished, it's going to go down to the bottom. It should repeat automatically and indefinitely without user intervention. That means that when it gets to the end, it must go back to the beginning. Indefinitely means that, well, until the user chooses to stop it or moves on to a different page or something along those lines. So not just repeating once, but continue and continue and continue. Each repetition should last for 12 seconds. Okay, so we know there's going to be 3 images, so we're going to have 3 scenes. So if we look at that, we can say that each scene could last for 4 seconds each. And the name of the college and logo should appear permanently on the animation and should not be part of a transition. So that means that when the image moves, the text and the logo should not move. They should remain on that animation at all times. So the first thing we've got to do before we even think about what software we're going to use is design a storyboard for this animation. Now, there's a number of different ways that we can design a storyboard. One is using this traditional method. So if we have a look at what we're doing here, we started off by making some statements that apply to the whole thing. So we're saying that each scene is going to be 30 centimeters by 6 centimeters. So that's in our ratio of 5 to 1. Lamplighters College will appear permanently and logo will appear permanently. We then put a timeline down here. So we've got 1 second, 2 seconds, 1 second, 1 second, 2 seconds, 1 second, and so on. And we can see that this first 1 second relates to the transition, but it's going to fly in from the top. Then we've got in our storyboard the layout. So if we have a look at the layout here, we've got our first picture. Well, let's assume we've already collected them, so just call it college1.jpg, or you could have a description of what the picture will be. We've decided that we're going to have Lamplighters College written over here, and the logo in this position here, and that will stay on for 2 seconds. Remember, we were looking at each scene being a total of 4 seconds. So then we have another 1 second where we're now going to fly out to the bottom. So that image is going to fly out. We've already said that these will appear permanently. And then we do exactly the same for the next image and the next image. Well, we can see we've actually missed off the transitions here, so those transitions need to be put in, so don't forget those. It's really important that you check your requirements and go through each requirement and make sure things are on there, and that when we get to the end we go back to the beginning and it keeps repeating. So that's one way of doing it. And looking at it could be to look at it in this sort of style where we move from one bit and we've got a description of everything. So here we're saying that this is going to be the animation size. We're saying about the college and the logo. We're saying where they're going to appear. Because we haven't got a layout, we're actually going to say where they're going to be. We're going to say that the animation will repeat continuously automatically, and it will last 10 seconds. Well, again, that should be 12 seconds, shouldn't it? So again, it's really important to check your requirements. These are the sorts of things you're going to find as you create your work. You know, the sort of little mistakes you might make that could lose you marks. I've done it, you can do it, everyone can do it. It's so easy to do those mistakes. So if we look, we've got our first 1 second, fly in from top to college 1. Then we've got our college 1. Fly out to bottom from college 1. Okay, and we've already done that. We do that for all of the different images, and we don't need to have an arrow going back to the beginning, because we said it will repeat continuously and automatically. So whichever method you use, whether you use both methods, it's completely up to you. The important thing is that you have covered all of these requirements within your storyboard, and that it's clear that somebody could read what you've done and produce the animation based upon what you've written here.